Hey everyone, my partner and I are off to Orlando for a glorious 2-week vacation. We are splitting this between Universal and Disney World. I am so excited. In this video, we will go over our trip timing as well as getting those tickets. We'll talk about key considerations and cost. For anyone new to the Pixie Dust PhD channel, hey, I'm Jacqueline. I'm very type A and a big planner. The content in this video is going to reflect the first couple of key steps when I'm planning a trip down to Orlando. There's definitely more planning content coming as well as trip vlogs and reaction videos, so be sure to be subscribed to the channel. You can then ring the bell icon to receive notifications for whenever I upload new videos. And thanks to all of you who interact with the channel by liking the videos, commenting down below, and sharing with friends. As a brief note, the day this video is getting posted will probably actually be the day we are returning from our vacation. Primarily for safety and privacy reasons, I do like to try to keep my exact trip details off of the general internet, so off of YouTube, for example, until that trip is already completed. Throughout this and the other planning videos in this series, I probably will be talking about the trip as if it's still coming up. When I'm filming, it is still coming up, but obviously once you're seeing it, some time has passed. That being said, we are off to Orlando. We will be leaving on October 14th and returning on October 28th. We started planning this in about summer of 2022. Some of the impetus to start planning quite early is because we are Disney Vacation Club members. Therefore, our booking window for our home resort opens up 11 months in advance of check-in, so basically a year out. But even if we weren't DVC members, I do tend to plan our trips pretty far in advance. First, it's because I like to always have something to look forward to and a trip to be planning, but second, and probably more importantly, this does help us plan out our pay time off for our jobs. Well over a year ago, my partner and I started discussing when it was we would want to head down to Orlando for a longer trip. Typically, for us, a longer trip is anywhere between 1 and 2 weeks. And at the time we were planning out this trip, we did know that we had a short stint to Walt Disney World in January already totally booked. So we certainly weren't looking to go very soon after that. Also, historically, we do travel down to Orlando in the September through January timeframe or so. I have no desire to be down there during summer. We assessed our work calendars and other commitments and decided on a handful of timeframes that seemed reasonable. The ones that stood out were early September, late October, and early December. In my heart of hearts, I really wanted to go in early December. But for the job I held at the time we were deciding this, early December was pretty dicey. I probably could have gotten away with having a planned trip during that time, but my boss would not have been happy with me. So since there were other timeframes on the table, we decided not to risk it. That being said, in retrospect now, I'm pretty sad about that decision because I'm actually at a different employer, and I think traveling during early December for my current employer would probably be fine. Early December in the Disney theme parks is pretty dang magical. We have been during that time frame once before though, so it's not like it's something I've never experienced. With early December out of the way, that then left early September and late October. Post-Labor Day in general, I find to be a great time to travel in the United States because for the most part, schools are back in session. And that's all the way from pre-K through most colleges and universities. Plus, with summer having just wound down and the Labor Day long weekend, if folks were going to travel, a lot of them will do it during summer or over Labor Day and not necessarily in the exact weeks following in September. In general, when I travel during this time frame, I just find everything to be less crowded. Hotels are cheaper, airports are less crowded, and we have been to Disney during this time before, and it was considerably less crowded than other times of year that we've been. But it is still September in Florida, which is pretty dang hot, and like I just said, we have done this time frame before. I'm fairly certain we've never been to Disney World during October, so we went forward with that. Granted, from a Disney Vacation Club perspective, this was considerably more expensive than going during September, but we had the points, so it wasn't a big deal. Perhaps one key downside of planning your trip so far in advance is it does tend to morph over time. So I apologize if this will be confusing throughout this video and future videos, but that is just the reality of things. Originally, when we were thinking about doing this, we thought we would go for a week and a half and would probably do maybe 1 day at Universal early in the trip. We ended up booking a full 2-week trip, I will get to that later, but originally we were going to leave on Wednesday or so and then come back the next Saturday, so a week and a half instead. Had we flown down Wednesday, we probably would have gone to Universal on Thursday. Then Friday onward would have been Disney. Originally, we didn't put a ton of thought into this, honestly, and it has just kind of become our default that if we're going to do both Universal and Disney, that we like to do the Universal portion first. In the past, we've done a mostly Universal trip with just a sprinkling of Disney. We've also done a mostly Disney trip with a Universal day in the middle. None of these other options are bad by any means, it's just our personal preference to do the Universal stuff and then do the Disney stuff. But as time went on, it became clear that one of my better friends wanted to experience Universal, so we started to coordinate with them. On my end of planning things, this is when we really started to bump that trip out to be 2 weeks instead of 1.5 weeks. A key factor here was accommodations. When it was just my partner and I going, we were not going to stay on site at Universal. But with our friend now wanting to come, we figured the three of us could split a premier level on-site hotel at Universal for just 1 night between the three of us. That would give us access to Express Pass for those 2 full days, check-in through check-out. To make good use of that full time, you definitely want to be able to rope drop the parks. Which then, for me and my partner, means arriving down to Orlando at least 1 day before you want to start your on-site stay. So we're already widening our trip length. Now, we could stick to Universal days just when we had the Express Pass, so about 1.5 to 2 days in the parks. The thing is, Universal often runs deals on tickets, so then we started entertaining the idea of going down even a little bit earlier and doing the parks for more days. The other big factor pushing the trip timing decision with respect to Universal is that October is prime Halloween Horror Nights season. In recent past years, and definitely for 2023, Halloween Horror Nights runs at the Universal Studios Park Wednesday nights through Sunday nights. So only Monday and Tuesday in the parks are uninterrupted by Halloween Horror Nights. For me, a person that does not want to experience Halloween Horror Nights but does just want to go to the Universal parks, that definitely means Mondays and Tuesdays are more ideal. Thinking back, originally we were considering one day at Universal on a Thursday, but that would have been a Halloween Horror Night event night. If we were only going to be at Universal for one day, I wanted that to be a non-HHN night. And ideally, if we were going to pay up to stay on site at a premier level hotel for the Express Pass, I would also like one of those theme park days with the Express Pass to be a non-HHN night. So now instead of arriving on a Wednesday, we were looking at flying down on Saturday or Sunday most likely. Now, there's not much further editorial commentary to provide in terms of our trip timing considerations for Disney. Like I said, we picked the overall trip timing essentially on work constraints. And then we wanted to do Universal before Disney, so the rest of the trip is basically Disney, nothing really more to say about that. We did know that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party was happening during this time frame, and didn't have hard set plans to do it while we were in the initial planning phases, but in the end, of course, we're doing the party. The timing of us buying tickets, though, did have some interesting external pressure. I do prefer to get my ticket purchases out of the way at least a couple months before we travel. It's a big chunk of money, and if you can get that cost out of the way early, for me, psychologically, when I come back from the trip with my credit card bill from all the food and whatever else we needed to pay off, at least the tickets aren't part of that credit card bill too. So yes, I do always buy my tickets early, but usually not quite this early. We were planning a trip for October of 2023 and ended up buying our Disney World tickets in November of 2022. What happened was Undercover Tourist ran a promotion over Black Friday where adults were paying the child prices. With the benefit of hindsight, I now know that Undercover Tourist has run that exact same promotion several times since then. However, at the time, I couldn't recall a promotion like that for Disney World and wanted to strike. There was that pressure of this being a 2-day Black Friday sale that was expiring, and then also this was November of 2022, and my gut did tell me that they would probably increase ticket prices in the new year. Before I went through with this, I of course read all of the fine print, and the tickets were good through end of 2023. Now, for best prices, you do still have to pick a starting date for your ticket. However, at this point, by November of 2022, we did already have a general trip plan sketched out. We knew roughly when we'd be at Universal and when we would switch to Disney World. And we had already sketched out our Disney Vacation Club stays, which meant we knew when we would be on Disney World property. I also asked some trusted friends who had to change their tickets in the past, and they really didn't have any issues. It's not something you can do online, but if you call and explain, usually cast members are happy to help you out. I talked to people who needed to modify the start date, and that wasn't a problem, though if the new start date did cost more, then they did pay the difference. And I also talked to a couple people who had bought a ticket package and then later added days to that ticket, and that went fine. At this point, in November 2022, the biggest question mark in my head was not the trip timing or the trip date, it really was how many days worth of tickets did we want? We were very unsure, but knew we didn't want to overbuy. So looking at our preliminary trip sketch, we decided to buy 6-day park hoppers on this promotion. At this point, we were also 90% sure that we would be staying on site at Universal on the night of Tuesday, October 17th. That would mean we'd have Express Pass on October 17th and October 18th. Therefore, there was no reason to have a Disney World ticket start date of October 18th or earlier. So naturally, we went with the October 19th start date to give us the flexibility we wanted. And luckily for us, the 6-day park hopper did cover October 19th all the way through when we were planning on leaving on October 28th, so that timing wasn't an issue either. A vast majority of the times that we've been to Disney World, I do buy tickets on Undercover Tourist. I trust them greatly, but I often get direct messages and private messages from folks asking me about my experience. I do think it's always worth comparing ticket costs directly to the Disney World website, because you do want to ensure you actually are saving money by going through this third-party vendor. For our case, looking at buying a 6-day park hopper ticket that started on October 19th directly from Disney, that would have been about $1,400 for 2 adults. Through this Undercover Tourist promotion, it was about $1,300, so saves us $100. For me, that's a very easy decision. And while I cannot vouch for any other third-party service, I've really only ever used Undercover Tourist, I can say with complete confidence that I have never had an issue with tickets through Undercover Tourist. And buying on their website is super easy. Honestly, the interface is not that different from Disney World's. They sell base tickets, park-to-park tickets, and the park-to-park plus option as well. Figure out what type of ticket you want, how many days you want, and then how many children and adults you'll be purchasing for. And again, you do have to choose a start date. From there, it's pretty much just like any other transaction when you're shopping online. You have to give them some information about you, there's some fine print that you should actually read because you are agreeing to terms and conditions. You're going to enter your credit card, obviously, and process that payment. Once you've paid, Undercover Tourist will email and or text you once your tickets are ready. And then your tickets will be in your Undercover Tourist account. You do then have to manually enter those tickets into your Disney World account and assign them to your friends and family. But for me, this has always been an incredibly straightforward and easy step. It takes like 30 seconds a person. Then for us, because we were traveling during October of 2023, we did still have to make theme park reservations. And it's October, which of course means it's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party season. We did the Boo to You After Hours event in 2021. We haven't actually ever done a proper Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. We have done the Christmas party at Magic Kingdom, I believe though back in 2017, so it's been a long time since we've done a proper holiday party, not just an after hours event. I was pretty certain I wanted to go, my partner was pretty certain they wanted to go, and then the friend that we're going to Universal with was also like, yeah, I'd be down. So between the three of us, we were like, okay, let's just do it then. My partner and I are arriving to Orlando on Saturday, October 14th, and then I believe our friend is coming down late after work on Monday. Then we're all going to wake up super early on Tuesday to head over to our Universal on-site hotel, drop our stuff off, get our express passes. And we're doing Universal Tuesday and Wednesday. In terms of party timing, then we were considering either the Thursday night party or the Friday night party. We ultimately decided on the Friday night party, even though that one's probably going to be more crowded than the Thursday night party is my gut instinct. But since that party goes pretty late, I don't expect to be back in bed until 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. maybe even. Then we can sleep in the next morning, which if we go Friday night, will be Saturday morning. Missing rope drop on a Saturday morning doesn't feel like nearly as much of a loss for me as missing rope drop on a Friday morning, for example. So for sleeping in and having a more chill day, we all just would rather that be Saturday than Friday, so we went with the Friday night party. My partner and I do qualify for the Disney Vacation Club discount, and our friend does have an annual pass, so we all qualify for discounts, and there were discounts for the party. But there were not discounts for this party date, so that didn't really matter. I had almost fully completed my purchase for party tickets on the Walt Disney World website before I thought to even check Undercover Tourist. Honestly, for something like a single night hard ticket event, I assumed Undercover Tourist would be the exact same price. But I'm grateful that I went back and checked because we did actually end up saving a little bit of money. For 2 adults going to this specific Halloween party, buying tickets through Disney would have been about $400, whereas buying tickets through Undercover Tourist was about $385. I know it's not much, but that saved $15 will buy us 2 Dole Whips. Or more realistically, it'll buy us a cocktail. And just like all the other tickets I bought through Undercover Tourist, they do deliver it to you. You then have to manually add it to your Disney account. In terms of tickets for Universal, we put that decision off for quite a lot longer. Now that we knew we were for sure staying on site, we wanted at least 2-day park-to-park tickets. But for a bunch of months, Universal has been running a promo where if you buy 2 days, you get 3 days free. And ultimately, we decided to upgrade to the 3 park tickets, so not only Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, but also their water park, Volcano Bay. So this will be our first time at Volcano Bay. I did also compare the standard 2-day tickets to the promotional buy 2 days, get 3 days free tickets, and there was a tiny bit of difference. I think it was about $10, presumably in taxes or fees. But truly, it was so minimal that it felt like there was no reason not to get these promotional tickets that would give us 5 days of tickets overall. And the 3-park upgrade, of course, did cost more than if we just did park-to-park tickets for the promotion. I think it was about $40 more. But to me, that $40 was absolutely worth getting to go to Volcano Bay for the first time. Overall, for Universal, we ended up with 5 days worth of park-to-park tickets that were valid at all 3 parks. And we didn't end up buying these until June of 2023. We really waited until our trip was much more fully formed to strike on these tickets. I'm filming right now in late September of 2023, less than 1 month before our vacation. And in a very unusual circumstance for me, our trip sketch is actually not fully set yet. We had originally planned for this trip to encompass about 3 work-from-home days, home being from the hotel. I recently got a new job, so I'm pretty short on paid time off. And my partner works in an industry where it is relatively encouraged that you're always at least a little bit in touch, even if you're on vacation, so some work-from-home days were also welcome for them. But recently, our employment situation has shifted, so these work-from-home days are no longer really relevant, and we're trying to sort of reimagine our trip without them. Originally, here's what the trip looked like, and by originally, I mean until about a week ago. We're flying down on Saturday, October 14th. I'm hopeful that we can be in the Universal theme parks by 2:30 or 3 p.m. this day. Then through Wednesday, October 18th, we were going to split this up between going to the Universal theme parks and doing a little bit of work from home. Though while we had Express Pass at Universal, we absolutely were not planning on working from home significantly those days. Thursday, October 19th, we had planned to basically be a rest, recovery, resort day, but also working from home during the day. No theme parks on Thursday in the original plan. Then Friday is Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party starting at 7 p.m. Though you can get into the Magic Kingdom starting at 4 p.m. Because you can start going at 4 p.m. and it is a pretty late night, we were not planning on using a day ticket this day, so again, working from home most of the day, then off to the party. Saturday we'd planned as a rest and resort day, again because it's following the night of the party. Then the next Sunday through Friday, we were planning on going to the Disney parks every day, and we're departing the next Saturday. The latest version of the trip sketch looks a little bit different though. If we aren't factoring in working from home while we're on vacation, we can certainly go to the parks more or switch up our resort days. The start of the trip looks basically the same. We're going to arrive on the same day, October 14th, and do Universal through Wednesday, October 18th. However, at this point, it's unlikely that we'll take any of this time to work from home, which honestly I'm pretty excited about because it means we should get way more time in the Universal theme parks. One of the key days we were going to do a full work from home day was Monday, and now we probably won't. Monday is one of the rare days of the week where there is no Halloween Horror Nights event. This means both the theme parks are operating for their full hours. Hopefully we can get a lot done on Monday that we otherwise would not have. Then we had originally slated our first Thursday, October 19th, as a work from home day / rest day as well. I'm thinking that we will instead move up the next Thursday's theme park into this Thursday slot. We'll get to sleep in Friday morning because we won't be going to theme parks until Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So Friday's a little bit of a rest day. And then we're going to maintain Saturday as a rest day as well. So instead of having that stretch in the back half of that trip where we're going to Disney World theme parks every day, Sunday through Friday, if we take that Thursday out, move it up into the first week, I just think that spreads out our rest time a little bit better. Like I said though, I am in a pretty unusual spot for me in the fact that this is still in flux. I think I have a good idea of what our new trip sketch will be like, not considering us working from home, but that's really not set in stone yet. There is also the possibility that we purchase one additional day's worth of tickets to Disney World, but I don't know that it'll really be worth it. I think having that dedicated Saturday and Thursday in the Walt Disney World Resort area to really just experience the resorts, the hotels we're staying at, do some laundry, do some bar hopping maybe, will probably be plenty. I don't know that I need to fill that day with another theme park. But I'll have to check back in after our trip and we can see where we actually ended up every day and if we did take a couple resort days or not. Overall, for the trip sketch, I would say there were two key considerations. For the Universal portion, Halloween Horror Nights was driving a lot of our timing decisions. And in Disney World, weirdly for me, being able to sleep in was driving some of my decisions. We have 3 late nights to consider. That's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and 2 extended evening hours for deluxe resort guests. Basically, that means the following morning, I am not getting up to rope drop, and we needed to bake that into our plans. And here are the final tickets that we purchased. For Universal, we have 5 days worth of Parks Park tickets that cover all 3 parks. We're going to 1 Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and our Walt Disney World tickets are Park Hopper tickets good for 6 days. For all of these tickets, purchasing through Undercover Tourist did end up being cheaper than purchasing directly through Universal or Disney. And overall, for 2 adults, all of these tickets cost just under $2,450. That's a little over $1,200 per person just in theme park tickets. If there are other third-party services you buy tickets through, I would love to hear about that in the comments down below. I've always gravitated toward Undercover Tourist, but if there are other reputable sites, I would definitely try something else out. I'd also be very curious to compare prices between different third-party sites. Given the fact that we already spent $2,500 on tickets, I'm not too excited to see the total trip cost after we come back from this trip. However, at least this is a cost that you can pay off well in advance, so it's so far out of my mind now, and we can just go on our trip and enjoy. I can't wait to share with you, and I hope you found this video helpful. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.